Hi, I'm Dan Cortopassi. Today I'm reviewing an HO scale sugar beet gondola from InterMountain. My model is decorated for Southern Pacific and represents an SP G50-23A class gondola. The MSRP for these cars is $42.95. I purchased my car for $35.99 from modeltrainstuff.com in March 2023. We'll start the model at 100 possible points. The car comes in a cardboard box with a clear plastic window on top. Inside, a two-piece plastic cradle protects the model. A layer of flexible plastic film helps to protect against scratches. This is a good box that should protect the model for storage and transport. In the late 1940s, SP purchased two classes of general service composite gondolas made of steel and wood, G50-20 and -23. These were based on the AAR 1942 wartime emergency gondolas that were designed to conserve steel for the war effort. After World War II, SP wanted these composite cars to save weight. These gondolas had drop bottoms for easier unloading and were primarily intended to haul sugar beets and wood chips. Starting in the late 1950s and continuing into the 1960s, SP began adding wood side extensions to increase the capacity of these cars. My model represents a car with wood plank extensions for sugar beet service. There were some detail variations on the real cars. Some of them had plywood extensions instead of individual boards as on my car. Some also had the brake wheel raised up to a higher position. I was not able to find any photos of this particular car, but I did find a number of photos of other similar cars. These are some photos I took at the Western Pacific Railroad Museum in Portola, California in 2016. This car has the board-style extensions. This one has plywood extensions. As far as I can tell, my model is correct for a car with the board-style extensions and with the brake wheel in the as-built lower position. My car has an April 1962 date stencil, which probably indicates the date the car received its extensions. SP used these cars into the 1980s. Many of these cars were leased to sugar companies and lasted into the 1990s carrying private owner reporting marks. From photos I've seen, it appears that most of these cars retained their original trucks with journal boxes throughout their service lives. The paint on the car is opaque and thin enough to allow the excellent rivet and board detail to show through. The lettering is crisp and the small stencils are legible with magnification. The grab irons are separately applied parts, as are the rods for the dumping mechanism along the lower sides of the car. The drop bottom does not open on the model. At the corners, the car has delicate stirrup steps. These look a little fragile, so I'd recommend handling the model carefully. On the ends, the car has more freestanding ladders and uncoupling levers. The ends have plastic air hoses, but the A-end hose is missing on my car, so I'm taking 5 points. The brake wheel on the B-end is nicely done. The brake platform is plastic. A see-through, photo-etched part would look better here, though it's a small enough detail that it doesn't impact the overall look of the car very much. Looking down from the top, you can see the excellent detail inside the car, including the floor and the bracing for the side extensions. Speaking of the extensions, I bought several of these cars, and on all but this one, the entire extension assembly came loose. I used some canopy glue to reattach them. I would suggest handling the car by the lower body, which is less fragile. Underneath, the car has excellent brake system detail, which is nice since a lot of it is visible when the car is on the track. The trucks have metal wheels with the standard RP25 profile. The car has metal knuckle couplers on both ends that look a lot like KD No. 5s. Looking for a match on the horizontal center line, the coupler on the A end is at the correct height. The coupler on the B end is high, so I'm taking 5 points. All the wheels are in gauge according to the NMRA standards gauge. There is no significant body wobble. The car weighs 2.6 ounces. The NMRA recommended weight for a car of this length is about 3.9 ounces. Adding a load would be the easiest way to add weight to this model. The car is free rolling. Since I prefer KD scale couplers, I'm going to replace the factory couplers and fix the coupler height at the same time. I'll be using KD 158 whisker couplers on this model. I'll start by removing the truck to get better access to the draft gear box. Then I'll remove the screw from the draft gear box lid. Because the uncoupling lever is attached to the draft gear box lid, I'm going to pry it up just enough to remove the coupler. On the B end, the uncoupling lever is sandwiched inside the brake chain detail. I'll move the lid toward the end of the car to separate it from the brake detail and get it up a little higher. Now I can remove the coupler spring. It was a little tricky to get the lid back in place. Tightening the draft gearbox lid too much will clamp the coupler. I had to loosen mine slightly to get the coupler to swing from side to side. I had to file the B-end bolster a little to lower the coupler height. This fix would have been the same if I'd kept the original couplers. With all the brake detail on the bottom of the car, I could only file so much before risking damage. It wasn't enough, so I also filed some material from the truck bolster. As sometimes happens, there can be a seesaw effect when lowering one end of the car that makes the other end go up a little. Because of that, I had to take some material from the A end as well. The last step is to tighten one bolster screw so that the truck can pivot but not rock side to side. This will prevent the car from wobbling. The other end should be left looser so that the car can handle uneven track. Let's see what we've got. The car had a missing brake hose, so I took 5 points in the paint and detail category. The car had one high coupler, so I took 5 points in the standards and operation category. That leaves us with 90 out of 100 possible points, which would be an A- on a report card. This is a highly detailed and accurate model that looks really good and is a welcome addition to my fleet of accurate SP cars. I'm giving it a green signal. I think InterMountain did a really nice job on this car. If you're looking for some HO scale sugar beet gondolas for your model railroad, then I think you might like it. If you like this video, then please like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned and thanks for watching.